Ladies and gentlemen, it's happening again. We're back together for another episode. Listen, we got some great stuff for you right now. You can see we got the round table. Everybody's here. Today's session is about the ladies in red. Ladies in red. What's that? Who are they? We're about to find out. Let's go.
Everyone, welcome back to the iConis podcast. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being there and supporting us. Remember, like, subscribe, and share. Do not let the show be a secret. Right now, as you can see, it's me, Barry 3D, Rod, DJ Rod C, and we're joined by the ringmaster, the one and only Larry Reclazado, and just some quick housekeeping. Big shout out to the one and only, the man who gives us the templates. If you need any work done, any digital stuff, Rod, who did he need to talk to?
J Bird Digital Art.
Mr. Jason Reese, J Bird Digital Arts, thank you so much for everything you do. If you need to find my stuff, you can find me at barry3d.com. Rod, where can we find you?
You find me on the World Wide Web, internet, and the turtle. No, sorry. You find me on Instagram at Mr. Rod C, MRRODC. I play live on Twitch, twitch.tv at DJ Rod C. Hey, I'm someplace. You can find me. Let's go.
Let's go. And Larry, please tell us where can we find you? What and how can we support that?
Well, go to Facebook and look up the forgotten, obscure, and underrated comic characters page.
Can't go wrong. That's the page you got to go and check out. So we wanted to say, if you go on that page, remember, respect the rules, have a lot of fun, and you'll see us posting on there along many other people. So that's a way we all converge and talk about these characters. And then on top of it, remember, I said, like, subscribe, and share. Don't let the show be a secret. I think we may be a little bit out of practice, but we're getting the band back together. And we're jumping. Am I missing anything? Am I missing anything right now? Oh, big shout out to my boy Dave Sokolowski. I saw him earlier today. So Dave, that was good to see you. He is still Santa Claus. Check out that episode. Big shout out to Larry. He's doing all the shorts on our page. So, and he's fan casting that with a lot of heroes. So please go and check out the shorts that he's been doing. They're coming out. He's done a bunch for Black History Month. He's done more outside of that, a lot more to come. So keep supporting those and keep that up. And we're just going to go. And as I said, we got different things on different days, from this main podcast to the shorts to some Patreon stuff that is coming. Check out our coffee page. If you want to do a donation, help us out there. That's great. And it just rolls, right? What we read, in past books, and why you should go to your comic book store and support them. So always make sure support the books. Without the books, we wouldn't be here to have anything to talk about, because everyone goes to the movies but forget the comic book store. Got to remember the origin. All right, here we go. Women in red, ladies in red. We are starting this off, and Larry, who is the first one we're talking about today?
Well, let's start out with the first one to appear with a major red motif. And that's going to be Ma Hunkel, also known as the original Red Tornado. First appeared in All American Comics #3 in 1939. Was basically done as a funny kind of character, but did cover fighting Nazi spies, criminals, all of that. It was a rather interesting, fun read. If you want to read a lot of that, you can look up a lot of World Adventures. And if I'm going to fan cast it personally, I'd be looking at Linda Hamilton currently after what she did on Stranger Things.
Wow. Okay, that is awesome. I like that. Now I'll add this. Like I said, 1993 All American Comics, and month with that, dude. I just had to put that in there to stick it to Rod. So Linda Hamilton played Ma Hunkel, the original Red Tornado. Now, and here's the thing: did I know about this character originally? Because Larry, you do some deep dives. So I didn't know about this character originally from that far back. I remember her showing up in a more recent run of Justice Society of America when they had their run going on, and that's when I came about this character. And I was like, and then I saw her costume, which did have a red motif, almost like she wore a cooking pot on top of her head. All right, yellow, green shorts, red like lights with a cape. So that was her, but her fighting ability is her fighting ability. So I think this was really fun kind of character to put together, and I like that they brought her back. So she's also a legacy character. So I know you're looking at, you said Linda Hamilton to play this character. I myself, I'm going to go with the one of my favorite ones here, and it's going to be Jamie Lee Curtis. If I had to put anyone on this, Jamie Lee Curtis, especially after some of the roles that she's done recently, she's got humor. We've all seen her in True Lies. And then what was the other movie that she just did a little couple of years back? Um, Everywhere and Everything, or
Yeah.
Everything, everywhere,
Yeah.
all at once.
Yeah.
that's right. So
Yeah.
if you watch that, you see that she's got the acting chops, obviously, the comedic timing, and the fight scenes that she was able to pull off and make as realistic as possible. And he embraces her age, which is a good thing. You need a character, I think, an actress that's going to be comfortable to do it. So that's where we see Ma Hunkel come in there. And that, now, does she have to be the Red Tornado in a flashback? It'd be kind of cool, and then bring the character forward, especially that they did the Justice Society of America in a Black Adam movie with Dwayne Johnson. It would have been cool to have a picture of her in the background, even just a cameo of this character for a good deep cut. Yeah, that's my 2 cents there. Right. Are you aware of this character at all?
I have not. And this is a great thing about having Larry on. Larry just goes into the crates. He just goes into like some bins, like, and some undercover country that you realize like there's buildings here. This guy has, some storage network. This guy has stuff. So, no, I did not know about the Red Tornado in that regard. The only Lady Red Tornado I know, again, I'm trying to remember. I know I've seen like in some early edition, well, later editions, like from like some 80s comic, but I can't remember if it was just a society or so forth. But then you know me, I'm always about the newer stuff. The recent 5-10 years with Young Justice, when they had the episode where the Red Tornadoes kind of like were um, taking over the headquarters and stuff like that. So there was a female Red Tornado. So I was like, oh yeah. When seeing that,
That
maybe
was Red Torpedo.
What's that?
That was Red Torpedo.
Torpedo, right? But that's what I'm saying. What's the closest to this I could think of in that sense? Like that's why I'm saying you're not saying Red Tornado. That's like I was about to say. Torpedo would make me think of, wait a minute, there was a Red Tornado that I remember seeing early in their days, but I couldn't remember exactly when and where. So this again is the closest, like, oh yeah, some similarities. Or just, the name is like tornado, torpedo, torpedo, tornado.
Tomato,
It's
tomato.
close enough. Tomato, tomato. Hey, hey.
Hey, hey. But yeah, that's it. I'm with you because it's a lot of people I think look at the main characters when they're reading a book and all that, and that's as they should, right? But it's all the secondary characters, the background characters that move the narrative and of the story at times and add more to it. As I said, if you look at Peter Parker wouldn't be as interesting without all the background characters, and that's Flash Thompson, Gwen Stacy, and I know they've moved into more prominent roles, right? But when they first started out, they were all just a group of kids at high school that he had to interact with, being bullied, having crushes on, passing in a hallway. And so we need more characters like that. If you're world building, you need to build a world. It can't just be one person. And then because if not, then you'll have that episode of Futurama where it's Fry and Leela in the future by themselves just aging, walking around the world. Oh my god! All right, so that's it. Did you have any more points on the Ma Hunkel or Red Tornado? I know she kind of came across as Red Tornado in issue number 20 of All American Comics. So Ma Hunkel in June 1939, issue number 3 of All American Comics, and then number 20 as the Red Tornado.
Yep.
I'm sure that would have been an interesting art to see. So yeah.
Yep. Oh, that's that. However, they did reestablish a female Red Tornado. Just to quick touch on something, which was the Lois Lane of Earth 2 during the New 52.
Yes. Yes. And that Earth 2 run was, once again, that's something to talk about. I think
In
that
the
was
future.
that was a good read. It's like you knew characters, they had a little bit of change, and you're like, okay, I want more to see what they're going that direction. And I enjoy the Earth 2 stuff. So there we go. That's it. Why? Because she had red in her costume. The main part of her costume was red, and then it had layers on top of it. So you're going Linda Hamilton, I'm going Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay.
Right.
Who else do we have
Right.
as a ladies in red?
Well, we're going to skip ahead to the actual first woman in red. That's actually how they referred to her. Police woman Peggy Allen, no relation to Barry. Thrilling Comics #2, 1940. And hey, and this is from you guys' country, Nidor Comics.
Right? Right?
Yep. So basically, she's an undercover cop and decides to put on a long, floor length coat, red dress, hood, mask, solves cases through deduction and athletic powers. And since the cops know who she is, every one of her stories actually ends with her debriefing them.
Now
And
she was interesting. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, and I'll spin it after.
just to do a quick thing. Now, if I'm going to cast that personally, um, I'm trying to remember her name. I believe it's Emma Myers, from Wednesday. She
Okay.
played Wednesday's roommate.
Okay.
Right. Okay. I can see that. I
Mhm.
can see that. So, and once again, now I was aware of the woman in red, and that's really, as I said, that she had a, it's like, it's like a pimp named Slickback, Tribe Called Quest. They got to say the whole name to get the name. So, woman in red, very interesting. And what I would say is like, he had the whole long robe, all in red. You're seeing the pictures as I'm putting up, and Larry, you gave us some great details there. Where I thought this could have gone even further, or where I came across this character first and foremost, was Project Superpowers. So years later, there was Project Superpowers comic book that brought all these characters together and gave them some good, like 3 arc stories going by. And of course, there was some spin-offs. Now, what was the draw for that for myself personally was Alex Ross was doing a lot of the covers for this. So if you look it up, and if you're a fan of Alex Ross, you're going to see them. And I say them because it's a whole, all those characters from back then. And then they had their solo runs, they had their team ups, and it was interesting to see her. Now I know she starts off with no powers, pretty much, but then at one point she finds, like, I guess a gem or a rock, something, and it gives her powers, and it changes her skin color to scarlet. So she was going by the woman in red, and then at one point, she was looking to change her name to Scarlet Woman because she was wearing a green outfit
Mhm.
instead of red, but her skin was red, still blonde hair. So, funny enough, I'm going to go with an actress that's already portrayed, and maybe she might do this, maybe be better received, is Brie Larson. I would go with Brie Larson, who played Captain Marvel, and put her in The Lady in Red. And I would even go as far as keep it in the timepiece back in the 1940s, 50s when the character made their debut. And I'm going to even go further. That I want to see this. I want to see it filmed. I know everything's about 4K, 320 frames per second, all that stuff, 8K. I want it filmed like in retrovision. So if you
Hmm.
go on any YouTube page and you see a lot of the people doing those AI videos, but it's talking about old classic heroes, and it looks like it's filmed, in the 50s, but it's supposed to be modern stuff like sci-fi. It's got that you know uh vision to it. I would like to see the look and feel of it like that, right? Like if I describe that properly, like I mean, if you're looking back at Thunderbirds and Jerry Vision as they call it, something along those lines. That the colors are so bright, and then you can tell the backgrounds are literally like real backgrounds. None of this overly CGI. I mean, it was filmed back then. So if you watch Wonder Man, on the MCU, and you see when they did the Wonder Man in the green costume, where Simon Williams is watching him on screen, and he kind of got that look, almost that, but even more so. That's, I think, would add to the appeal to really make it feel like a timepiece period. And it can be done because we look at Peggy Carter. So, Woman in Red, that's where
Yep.
I'm going with, and keep it because it can add that noir mystique to it, and which we will get soon enough with Spider-Man Noir or Spider Noir, because they're not calling it Spider-Man. That's how they
Yes.
do. Yeah, yeah. So Brie Larson, I'm going with Brie Larson. I think that she would come back, still a strong character to portray,
Mhm.
undercover missions. No superpowers. I'm not looking for the superpower version. I'm looking for the original appearance with the long gown, red, undercover work, still working with the police. And how does that work? You got a vigilante working with the police, and she really came about because uh, she was being a police officer herself. Criminals are getting free, so it's
Yeah.
almost Punisher esque. That she didn't like the system, almost like Daredevil, another person in red that
Yeah.
works in the law, doesn't like how the law gets these criminals out, and then dumps in on her own. So, all right,
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents. Yeah, here we go. I know I get
You know
deep
what?
on that one.
I want to add on to that too now. 'Cause,
Yeah.
because of, being who she, non-superpower and all that kind of stuff, I wanted to cast somebody who is just literally an obvious and not an obvious person. Because since you said Scarlet, and that was the deciding factor for me. We know of a Scarlet Witch, and we know of a person playing a Scarlet Witch. So, share the wealth. Why only have one Olsen? Why can't we have another Olsen? Ashley Olsen. Why can't we have
Yeah.
the sister
Yeah.
of Elizabeth to play? Get her in a couple of superhero movies. Her sister's doing well. She's making some money off of that.
Yeah.
Ashley, come on. Your sister will give you some pointers on what to do. I think that'd be okay. I like just throwing monkey wrenches into everything, but I think that's a good. Well, why
Nice.
not? Come on, she's gonna be old enough to again. She's been in the force, like you said. She's so she has contacts. So like she's a well developed character, or not saying a character, but a person that the police know, the city knows.
Right.
Again, like
Right.
you said, they always basically at the end of every episode, every time they're briefing. Okay, tell us your take, break us down on what we missed, that kind of scenario. So that means she's a veteran. They know that she has to. She's out in the street. She's not a newbie. So I want someone who has some grit, some age, and basically look like, okay, you know what? You got some wisdom on you. Lay it on us. So that's why I would go with Ashley Olsen.
Hey. Okay. Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Touche, sir. Touche. Hey. Woohoo. All right. Who else do we have on the list there, Larry?
All right. So next one come up is from Dynamic Comics number 2, 1941, Lady Satan. Lady Satan and her fiance were on a boat which was bombed by the Germans. It sunk, her fiance died, and she decided to take an oath to basically fight the Nazis in Germany. Put on a mask, a waltzing outfit, and traveled through the streets of occupied France while fighting the Germans there. However, out of her third appearance, they completely changed her into a sorceress, and she started fighting demons and such. So it was interesting. This was actually done by a company called Harry Chesler Publications, and she was created by the famous George Tesca.
Hey.
Created a lot of people back in the 40s.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Right. See, now, once again, sometimes it's nice to go back and take steps forward. So
Hmm.
now you got to keep in mind like, the years these were happening, the war was around at this time. So a lot of the heroes are going to be involved with the war in one aspect or another as their common thread, common themes.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
All right,
Um,
so who am I going to cast as her? We're going to go back to Stranger Things again. Natalia Dyer. Played Nancy.
okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. All right.
Okay.
All right. Then I got to,
Okay.
okay. Yeah. See, I had one actress. I got to be more. Let's see. Yeah. No. 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 Yeah. Yeah. So now here's my thing, man. I'm still kind of brainstorming a little bit, Larry. So, what do you think about the character going from how they started off as like a vigilante kind of character to when I say well, and then change into a sorceress? Is that something you want to see, like both sides? Like you want to see a combination of it, or how would you see
Well,
it?
well, when she reappeared in Project Superpowers, they actually dropped the sorceress thing.
Okay.
They really didn't have her doing that anymore. Um, I prefer her personally as the well, in France they were considered guerrilla fighters
Hmm. Okay.
Hmm.
All right.
and actually do that. Kind of along the lines of what was that Henry Cavill movie? Ungentlemanly.
Oh, right, right. The League of Gentlemen. Yeah, yeah, yes,
Oh
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yes, yes. With Henry Cavill, who's in that one, right?
Yep.
Yep,
Yes,
yep.
yes. That
Huh.
was a good movie. I wouldn't even like that was a good movie. Okay.
Okay. So if I had to go with this actress, okay, so I had to cast this actress, and keeping with that theme, and this might be a turn, uh, I would actually go Sandra Bullock.
Mm,
No.
Sandra Bullock knows German,
yeah.
right? If we got to keep it in that piece, now we see Sandra Bullock a lot of times doing more whimsical, lighthearted roles. And there's times she's done like the deep, you know, dive down there. She's done the action roles. I mean, really, look, Demolition Man. I say bring Sandy back. Sandra Bullock speaking German, um, and keep her that way. Would I want to dabble into the sorcery part and demons? Why not? Add another layer. It doesn't have to be the main thing, but maybe show her start one way and then slightly get into the mysticism because maybe things she finds and comes about, especially during you know, rumor wise, history wise, the Germans were hunting down because of Hitler. They were looking for artifacts, right? That was a theme that was already in Indiana Jones, that they're looking for magical
Right.
objects and so forth. So
Kind
have
of a
her
cult.
start.
Oh,
Yeah, the occult. Thank you. So have her start with the traditional storyline, but then build her into going. Doesn't have to make her a sorceress, but going into dealing with occult artifacts because she's trying to stop the Germans from maybe getting it, and this is why she goes down that rabbit hole. So yeah, that's what I'm going with. Yes,
okay.
yes.
Nice. Nice. Um Interesting. Okay, cool. I like that. Like the person I was thinking as well was she's been in a series, The Umbrella Academy. So if you remember Sloane, who came in the final season or second to final
Mm.
season, no, it's final season, uh, Genesis Rodriguez. Now,
Yes.
in my mind, I'm thinking again along the same line. Maybe like I'm kind of like with Barry in a sense. At least it had the vigilante aspect of it because basically in that she was being very how do I say, she was very persuasive, able to talk to people and basically show come as one particular aspect and realize she has another meaning, she has another alternative meaning, mindset to to get her mission done, to get what she needs to get done. um so Genesis Rodriguez would be one of my people I would think of a casting as that, because again, occupation, dealing with the Nazis, and in all that regard, just trying to be that type of vigilante person to help out and right wrongs type of scenario. And you know Barry, you're right, like you said, the Nazis, the looking for occulted artifacts and stuff like that. And I was going to think about also at the end, I was going to jump in with Marvel, because that's basically how the Red Skull started out, in that same regard. So you knew that was the mindset of what they're always looking for, some type of artifact to give them the edge. So I would say that she was the type of person who will get in, be maybe like a double agent kind of spy, go and do what you got to do just to get close to thwart the Nazi from achieving their goal from within.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And she was that type of person. Get close to the main leader of Umbrella Club, and seeing that she was also a Big Hero 6. So she can have the levity to be able to be that cartoonish type of fun person, just to get in. But of course, dealing with occupation in Germany and stuff like that, there's no levity for laughter. But she can still make her way and get herself presence known and accept her, and all of a sudden, whoop, whoop, she she started acting like Dungeon Dragons and call it a day, because she was in there too.
I have the HP for it. That's a running joke with the guys I'm playing with right now. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Right. So far we got through a couple. So who is our next woman in red? And not
All right.
only the
Well,
woman in red, we rate for her.
we're gonna skip ahead a little bit, and we're hitting Nidor Comics again. Um, First appearing in Exciting Comics number 51, September 1946, Miss Mask. She was another one that they actually brought out back in when Project Superpowers. When she originally started, it was just a young socialite who decides to fight crime, and her name is Diana Adams. No superpowers at that time, just her wit and a pair of pistols. Wore a mini skirt, red dress, red hat, gloves and cape, and a domino mask. Uh, had a letter M embedded on her chest. Well, two M's sideways. Kind of interesting appearance. When they did bring her back in Project Superpowers, they gave her an ability that when she put on her mask, she could basically make an illusion to appear as whoever, kind of like Mystique, only as an illusion.
Okay.
Uh, and if I'm gonna cast her, she was also in Wednesday. She's a rather young actress because I want to cast these young. Anyway, if you watched Wednesday, she was the girl who was basically trying to make herself look like Wednesday throughout the whole season. Very annoying character. But
Hold on. You keep looking for the name. I'm going to come up with who I think it'll be cool to play this character in the meantime. So I'm going with the actress from Euphoria, right? And everyone knows that because of Zendaya, Sydney Sweeney, and I'm not casting those two. The actress I'm looking to cast is Hunter Shafir, right? So SCHAFER, right? So Hunter Shafir, I know her from Euphoria. I think that she would play a good, like she's an actress and a model, and she would also really be good at playing a socialite, carrying on that, and of course, giving the power of the mask. It'd be nice to kind of get a history to see how this power in the mask kind of start going about, how she kind of puts it to use, and kind of starting down that road. And the beauty of it, is, if I'm right, she was inspired by the woman in red to kind of take up that mantle as a superhero. So this is, would it be nice to see some mention or reference of that woman in red character showing up in the series to say, hey, I've seen this, be it if she's reading a newspaper article, because let's keep in mind, I'm not looking to modernize these characters. I'm looking to let them start in a time period and build that world. And once again, as I said before, we have the Peggy Carter series. They already have the sets. They can do it. Just go on the lot. A lot of people are looking at these when they do their, and doing the tours of the studios. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, just have to reuse it. So I'm going, as I said, with Hunter Shafir to be that role, to play that character in that role moving forward. That's where I'm stopping. Yep.
my actress, Evie Templeton.
Evie Templeton. Okay. Okay. All right. Now.
Played
Okay.
played Agnes uh, in this last season of Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay.
Hmm. 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 Okay. And I know you're casting him a little bit younger because you want the longevity of the character to be, as we all know, you can't produce a TV show or a series or a movie, overnight. And especially if it hits, it's a sequel. Yeah, you need someone that's going to be able to take the bumps and hits because
And
it's
considering these,
the physically demanding roles.
plus you have the fact that these characters were all in their like 18, 19, 20s, supposedly when they started.
Right. Yeah, they're not like old man Logan or Dark Knight Returns. It's like, I'm putting back the mask on at age 55.
Yeah.
Schaefer's.
All right. So, Rod, you got anybody on that?
I do, and I was like trying to think of someone, and I don't know if you ever saw. every time I see this movie comes on TV, I don't mind. I actually love watching it. Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets.
Ah, yes.
Right. So it's Cara. That's why I had to get her name right. Cara Delevingne. Delevingne. I think that's how you pronounce it. She was the second, like basically, it was Major Valerian and Sergeant Lorraine. She was just a very hard knocked individual, by the book type of individual. But um, I can just see her. I can see her as the character, just being I don't know the way you
Yeah.
describe. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like I knew we looked up her and everything. I looked her up and everything, like mask and everything like that. And I just realizing, okay, just the visual of seeing her, you know, with her fedora and just looking
Uh-huh.
right there, like, okay, she's like you said, she's a badass. She's going to, take numbers and just basically line you all up. I'll deal with you all later. Make sure you come in the room. Next, next.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. I can see it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So because like I said, um, just the blonde and everything like that, she would just have that serious type of look, and I'm like thinking, you know what? I can see her mismatched.
Yep.
Okay.
Just straight. I'll just go straight. Just go straight.
Go straight.
All right. So let's jump ahead a little bit. And actually, I'm going to jump back a little bit because forgot this one character started a few years before. But we're going to get someplace we know a lot of characters from, Marvel Comics. And we're going to talk about Marvel Comics version of Miss America. First appearing in Marvel Mystery Comics number 49, November 1943, created by Otto Binder and Al Gabriel. Basically, she was a socialite hanging out with her dad. There was an accident at a big generator, was struck by lightning. She got hit, ends up being able to fly, and has enhanced strength. Um, Ended up bringing her back quite a bit during the 70s, whenever they would cover things like the Liberty Legion and so forth. Really interesting character. There are some newer reprints of her stuff, especially when they had the 75th anniversary. So are well worth your time looking up. I would cast personally, just because of how badass the actress was in Stranger Things, Sadie Sink, who played Max.
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right then. Okay. 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 So, all right. Uh, Sometimes you just gotta let it cook. You gotta let it cook,
Let it simmer. Let it sit. Let it bubble over.
right? You just gotta. Okay. Yes. Yes. All right. So what I like is like a lot of these heroes coming out. They're socialites. They're this. It's like, dude. I guess the rich have time to do things like fight crime. Like, I want to be in that world. I want to be
You
in
know
that
what?
world. You
You
know.
know, the money's good. Someone's making money. Like they're like, I don't have to go to work. I got people to make money for me. So
Right?
what I'm
It's
gonna
like
do
you're
for
a
my whole
socialite.
day?
Yeah, it's like
You know
you're a
what?
socialite. I'm a socialite. You're a socialite. I'm a socialite. What do you do at night? You don't want to know. Okay, so I like that, and I like the and Miss America. I mean, she showed up with other characters like the Wizard and stuff. Sorry, I can't remember what was the team that was part of? She was part of the All Winners. Was it All Winner Squad at one
All
point?
Winter Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and we had the Wizard already show up in the MCU. I think at two different times, right? But they obviously they had their own take or variation of them. What I would go with another character from Euphoria, another actress, and I'm going with Chloe Cherry from Euphoria or Miss America. If we're going like a kind of a younger motif, socialite, um, and I think they would get it now. Like they're all heavy into their Instagram and modeling and stuff like that. Okay, throw it into a period piece. I think she could pull it off. She can pull it off. That's that's the actress I'm going with there. Especially put in a costume, I can see it. So,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
who wouldn't we want part of a Marvel movie? Just make sure you got a good agent.
100%. 100%. All right.
What
So,
about yourself, Rod? Do you have any
Well,
thoughts?
I do. Like, listen, the socialite part is like you said. It's funny that you brought that up. Everybody seems to be just, they got nothing else to do. But I want to find somebody who, you can look at them and you will. It's like it's the same way people look at Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne, he doesn't know what it looks like. Maybe he has the same body shape, but other than that, this is the billionaire playboy. He has no mindset to think of Bruce Wayne at night, and he's not sauced up. That doesn't make sense. That's not Bruce Wayne. So I wanted to find someone that people will look at that person, look at that individual, and just say, "There's no way you, being a socialite, would actually be this type of person." But I want to put Kristen Stewart into the mix.
I like.
Kristen Stewart into the mix. She has that look, again, from her days of, twilighting out in the night with the Sparkle Boys. And, that's what she does. And you wouldn't think that she's out here, defending the innocent, right and wrong, putting an 80-inch heel in someone's chest and twist. No. Not Miss Stewart. Miss Stewart? No, Miss Stewart. I swear I just saw her go in the back of a limo with somebody. No, not Miss Stewart. No.
So wrong. Buddy, I love how you present it, man. Okay, so
Okay.
Miss Stewart.
Well, our next lady in red, I'm not going to cover. I'm just going to say, of course, would have been the Scarlet Witch, who first appeared in 1964 in X-Men #4. Look it up. All right. Then we're going to skip ahead from there.
This
character was
this guy.
This character was actually created just so that nobody else would use the name Spider-Woman.
That's gangster.
And ended up in a 4-year run. First appeared in Marvel Spotlight number 32 in February of 1977. Stan Lee got a little upset because 1 year before there was a cartoon called Web Woman that hit, and he was scared that somebody else was gonna do a TV show called Spider-Woman. So, now, Jessica Drew was kind of a experiment for Hydra that gave her spider powers that her dad actually had the serum that created her. She ended up in suspended animation pretty much until she grew to full adulthood. So she was a little bit, shall we say, stunted to start. Now, Spider-Woman's had a great run. She's been around for ages now. Of course, there have been other Spider-Women since, but I'm always going to say Jessica Drew is the only Spider-Woman, as far as I'm concerned. Who would I cast as Jessica? Well, to be honest, I would most likely, and I'm almost hating to say it because of the bad reputation that Sony ended up with when they did Madam Web. Help me out, guys. Who was the star of Madam Web?
Yeah.
Dakota Johnson.
Oh, right. Yes.
That was it.
Yeah. She should have been Spider-Woman, and they should have done it instead.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think that would have been, once again, that was Sony stepping into the kitchen without a recipe book and thinking, we got this. So we're not not a fan of the Spider-Woman movie. Sorry, I mean the Madam Web movie.
Yeah.
But I agree with you with that actress. That actress should have been Spider-Woman. I would see her more as Spider-Woman than I would have seen her as Madam Web, right? I think we talked about Madam Web. We talked about Madam Web on our podcast, and I think that's where I was. Yeah, I was throwing in Jamie Lee Curtis should have been Madam Web if you're going to go with the traditional kind of view on it and not like that far back. And I know we talked about Spider-Woman on this channel.
Yeah, we did. I just can't remember immediately right now.
Yeah, I can't remember who we casted. Anyways, here's the episode. People look it up. There's the link. So watch it and see what me and Rod talked about it. But I would say that I like your pick for Spider-Woman. I think Spider-Woman she's got legs. Here's the thing. They believed in her so much that they gave her own cartoon series that ran for a while. Right? Now, I'm not sure if that was them just trying to solidify Spider-Woman as a character, but she did show up in even ads. Like they had another, if you look at those Twinkie ads back in the day at the back of a magazine, you had Spider-Man, and there was another character that was, I'm not sure if she went with Spider-Woman or Web Woman or something along those lines, but then she would show up in those, for as memory serves me, right? And then, like I said, she had her own cartoon series that ran for a while.
Yeah.
Why are we not getting Jessica in now? And if you did any recent reads, go to the, check out the long boxes at the comic book store, and you would have read some of the Avengers over the past couple of years. At one point, she was a key person leading the Avengers. The time when Miss Marvel was back in there, and during it's not it's around Civil War time, and when they had that storyline. So she was on the Avengers team along with Wolverine. The character had her own series, obviously, like comic book series. She's had her own run. She's had her own cartoon already. The only thing we're missing is a proper live action movie.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this too before, where we talked about families. So I know DC is very quick to put around, Superman family, Batman family as books, right? And Spider-Man has his own family, even though they haven't officially called it that. And it would have been nice to see more interaction with Spider-Woman and Spider-Man, and give them maybe like common villains to fight or a common theme. I liked when they were talking with Spider-Man at one point, and they're making it like his powers, because all of the villains he fights are all totems. So he fights, he part of this. He's an avatar for the spider totem. There's Rhino, there's Vulture, and he goes, "Hey, don't you realize?" When Ezekiel came in, it's like, "Don't you realize all your guys have a theme, an animal theme? This goes back to this totem." And it would have been cool if they would have brought Spider-Woman in there at that time and expanded that as another storyline. So Jessica Drew is who's definitely missing. They gave her a lot of pushes in the past. Need more live action going forward.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. Now we're going to finish up with somebody who they've already had in the movies, but I'm going to recast it completely. We're going to talk about Elektra. First appearing in Daredevil, number 168. Basically, as you know, she's an assassin. Great character, grounded. Now, I'm going to skew this a little bit older than I have been, but still young. Hailey Kentra.
Where's she from?
Did you see Descendants: Rise of Red?
No.
You
should.
Not.
Okay.
She plays Red.
Okay. All right. And she plays Red. All right.
She's a singer. She's an actress. She's athletic. And she's got the look. All right. I will put that on my list and look it up. So good for bringing that forward. Elektra, I know we've talked about Elektra at times on the channel, because we went into the whole thing when, especially, I like the character of Elektra. I like her story arcs. I like how she brought in. I like that she was brought in with the hand and how her things were. And I said, one of my favorite miniseries is Elektra Assassin. That miniseries that was done by Bill Winnicott as the artist. Thank you. I always screw up the names. So thank you. And that one's a tongue twister for me. So I liked his art and I liked the storyline. And then on top of it, because we talked about, I did a short there talking about Garrett from there. And then, of course, Frank Miller. When Frank Miller was doing that Daredevil run, and, brought in the chase, fighting the hand, and everyone's just fighting for Elektra's spirit and body. They're trying to bring her back. So she gets redeemed at some point. But she's pivotal. She's pivotal as an assassin, mystical, ninja, love interest for Daredevil. Like, she's a cornerstone
for that part of the world. Right? I mean, like, the world building, as I like to talk about, because I would love to see the Hand more often than we see them. I would like to see more of their motivation, background. These are other things like, I talk about. I mean, we talked about MCU. We talked about Roxanne. The company Roxanne. Roxanne Oil and all. They show up in the background, but no one's really come forward to represent them. But there's stories that really tie into certain people like Deathlock. So going with Elektra, um, yeah, that's a good one because that role has to be physical, and I want additional costume. Like, people were excited when Jennifer Garner came back in Daredevil and Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
She, reprised the roles. I was like, yeah, and no knock on Jennifer Garner because she is wicked. But I wanted to, yeah, and I know they did a different actress for her in the Daredevil series.
Good actress, but
right.
I want somebody who can grow.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I might have an answer. I might have
Rod.
an answer for you on that one. I might have an answer for you on that one. So, person I was thinking about was Ana de Armas. If the name kind of sounds familiar,
the Armas.
If you remember for Ballerina.
Yep.
Excuse me, Ballerina. She was also in the latest James Bond one, No Time to Die, as basically James, equal in that regard. And she has the fighting chops. She can hold her own. So giving her some two sides and just say, okay, you're a mistress of the night per se. Yeah, I don't think we got a problem with that. Plus, we're going to talk some sides, aka knives. I don't know. She might have been in a movie called Knives Out. I don't know. I'm just saying she might have access to knives. I'm just saying. But but I was definitely say with she, if you go back and think about the James Bond, her fighting sequence and stuff like that on there, there was no hesitation. She knew what she was doing. She felt comfortable doing that. Then, doing Ballerina. So yeah, I think in a growing aspect of it, you're right. Jennifer, Chef Kiss, thank you for your service. Thank you for giving us the template of what we would expect in Elektra, because you've made the template. You set the bar high. You set the bar where people have to realize we need another Jennifer. We need some action like Jennifer, and I think Anna will be able to pull that off.
Yep. So that's it for this one as far as what we're doing. We went from the 30s all the way up to the 80s. Who knows what they're going to come out with next?
Very true, man. Thank you so much for bringing this forward, Larry. This is awesome. And I hope everyone that is watching and listening enjoyed this. And if you have a character that's got a female character with a red motif, let us know down in the comments below. And let's keep it going. And remember, like, subscribe, and share. So any last words before we wrap it up? Any last words, Rod, before we wrap this one up?
Listen, it's great to have the band back together. We dipping into the ladies and into the world and the women of red. I hope you guys enjoyed it, because definitely I did. Again, Larry just goes deep into some crates and finds some comics, like saying tons of dust coming off and like, you're like, oh, that's nice. I didn't know what you find that. Don't worry about it. I got people. Larry has people. That's all I'm gonna say. Larry got people. He got comics hiding out somewhere. So I'm sure he got more for us later on. Stay tuned. There's more coming down the pipeline. I'm just gonna say it like that. Yeah.
Agreed. Larry, any last words, my friend?
Well, the way I always like to sign off: keep reading, keep writing, keep drawing. Who knows? Maybe you'll be an artist, a creator someday.
Very true. And like I said, this whole world started by a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming, people. And thank you once again for supporting the show. Remember, like, subscribe, and share. We want to get to 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube page. And of course, you can find us on Podbean, wherever you get your podcast from. You want to listen to the audio version, that is there to stream it, listen it, download it, and share it. And then interact with us. We do answer back on the comments below on all the stuff that we have, different things. So we have things and check out our Patreon page. We're getting that going. So on that note, have yourselves a great day. And if you put on a red suit or hoodie, remember the ladies and women in red. There we go. We're out.